Good evening everyone and welcome to League of Europe GT Sport. This is Season 2, Round 7 here at Mount Panorama, better known to us of course as Bathurst. And I of course am Gen1014, foreign into the GT Sport world once again for the second time in 3 weeks. I was last here of course to give you the commentary on Brands Hatch, and I'm thrilled to be commentating on the action once again here in Bathurst, one of my personal favourite tracks. And as you can tell, these are the conditions for the drivers out on track. It is night time. It is very difficult to see some of the liveries, but I'm going to probably be going off the drivers' names more than anything else here tonight. And coming into tonight, after the not streamed round of Autopolis last week, we'll give you the championship standings updates now. So Dan won an Autopolis, followed by V5HRL in second, and Mac Dutchface was third. In fourth that day was Game Boys, fifth was Daka, sixth was Sir Ibbo. We also had Campbell, who DNF'd, Sarger, who disconnected, and McLaren fan connected as well. Two brand new drivers there. Last week at Autopolis. Coming into tonight though, the championship standings as well still leads the way on 118 points. His run of wins coming to a close last time out at Autopolis. Dan in second, ILRT Dan in second on 103 points. It'll be very wise if I get these guys up for you out on track while I'm going through. So there's V5HRL out in front in the championship on 118 points. Dan in second on 103. Then a bit of a gap to Campbell, who's just about to come out of track now. Campbell on 67 points, with Game Boys in fourth, both the QVR boys third and fourth in the standings, 67 and 66 points for Game Boys respectively. Mac Dutchface, who isn't here at the moment, hopefully he might be attending, he's on 62 points, the German. Sir Ivo is here, the Brit, he's in sixth on 46 points, so a bit of a gap there between Mac Dutchface and Sir Ivo. Daka is in seventh, he is here tonight, which is good to see, another one of the QVR boys, and he has set the fastest lap currently in practice, which is what you're seeing now with a 2-minute 7.539. Bullet Boy is in 8th on 20, in 9th on 12 points, 6 points gained for Brands Hatch, and hopefully he will be finishing once again here tonight. Ton Albanak, I can't even say this. Ton Albanak in 10th on 6 points. Caesar hasn't attended, so he's on 0. Sarger on 0s, and McLaren fan on 0 as well. And that's just to give you an update. And if you're wondering who the new driver is, the Bread Bank is here. I don't know him. I don't know much about him, but he's here and he's got a great name. The Bread Bank, welcome to GT Sport for League of Europe. 3 minutes ago until the start, let me give you a bit of facts about where we are here in Australia. And of course, before we start, I do want to pay a little bit of a tribute to those firefighters who are currently battling the blazes in New South Wales and in Queensland respectively in Australia. They're doing a great job out there in Australia and fighting the wildfires, and hopefully they'll be contained as they are heading towards the capital Sydney, which is a shame for that. So obviously we are here in New South Wales. That's why I'm saying I want to pay a bit of a tribute. We're at Mount Panorama. We're in Bathurst. We're in New South Wales in Australia. 6.213 kilometres in length. The Conrod Straight, which is the main straight, which is appropriately what we're on now, Conrod Straight. The Bread Bank going down into turn 20, down towards the Chase. Yes, that's not the ITV show. Don't worry, I know. The Conrod Straight, 1.9 kilometres in length, the longest straight in Australia, at any track in Australia. Mountain Straight, which is the going up the hill into turn 2 towards Griffin's Bend, that is 1.111 kilometres in length as well. And Bread Bank appropriately is just coming towards this section now, so I'll just go on board as he improves actually with a 208.5. Nice lap there from the Bread Bank here in practice. And this is the mountain straight that he's on now. The steepest gradients here tonight, 1 in 6.13, which essentially means it's 962 metres above sea level. I know, it's quite a way. It is quite a way. Oh, the highest point on the track is at the Dipper, in fact, at the Skyline, that's turn 11. So I will try and pick out where the corners are during the 60-minute endurance race here for League of Europe GT Sport, and I hope you guys are enjoying it tonight so far. I'm just going to tune into the comments. Of course, do come in the comments section from time to time and give me some support, give the drivers some support out on track as well. We are at 6 o'clock now, so we should be getting going very shortly indeed. Good evening to Mark, who was tuned in. Evening, James. This track is mad fun. Did it last season. Yeah, it is mad fun. This is going to be fantastic. 60 minutes worth of endurance racing. It is going to be quite telling. You don't want to see Breadbank making a mistake there, but we are now ready to go for Mountain Panorama, the motor racing circuit. Ignore the blue skies, they're all gone with the nighttime conditions, and we have of course got the rolling start. So Breadbank on pole, or a Crafty second. It is the championship standings reversed, so that's why you're seeing Dan and Beef Virtual of course at the back of the field. But an hour about to get going here at Mount Panorama. Buckle up, because it's going to be a wild ride. Breadbank will lead us off then. Rolling start gets us underway. We now come into the final corner through Murray's corner at turn 23 and onto the main straight past the pit building on the left hand side. Breadbank will begin, and the lights go out now, and we're underway for GT Sport League of Europe Season 2 Round 7 here at Mount Panorama, and Breadbank leads the way down into turn 1, attacks the corner nicely. Up the mountain straight they go. Aura Crafty's already lost the car there in second. Dakar has already gone flying past him. Ibel's up the fourth. Game Boy's in fifth. I'm just going to come out of spectate mode because I do like to give you some great camera angles with these guys. It's side by side in the meantime. You can really see how dark it is out on track by this camera angle. Aura Crafty on the outside, so Ibel on the inside. The Lexus against the Aston, and the Lexus inside through Griffin's Bend. Game Boys who came around the outside of him, and Sable just getting caught on the curb. That is quite a vicious curb, and you can get rid of that. And Sable actually on a set of medium compound tyres. There is probably a bit of a strategy change in amongst these guys. Game Boys up the third has gone past Aura Crafty up the straight. There is a slowdown penalty there for Aura Crafty. Of course, he can serve that within the 60 minutes of racing here. But Breadbank leads the way, 1.5 seconds the gap, and he's really pulled away actually out in front. 1.8 seconds now the gap as they come to the highest point on the track. We're about nearly 1,000 metres above sea level now, as Game Boys is surely not going to attack Dakar down the hill into the dipper and through the S's at 11, 12, 13 and 14. He's got the move done in the meantime. Game Boys has got that move done, and he is in to second place. Great stuff there from Game Boys on Dakar. Aura Crafty, Campbell just in behind as well. Dan Viva Virtual just dropping off slightly. May see them come better. In fact, Dan has picked up some damage. I'm not sure if there might have been a bit of contact. Yeah, so Ibel, I think that might have been contact. The left front and the right hand side of Dan's car as well picking up damage. That might make a little bit of sense there. Game Boys though has got the slipstream and gone past Breadbank. We've missed that running down the straight into the chase. Bradley Walsh will be very happy that we're covering this. Game Boys through, and he's into the lead of the race. Breadbank just looking a little bit sketchy there in the Renault of course. Dakar in third with Aura Crafty in fourth, has picked up 2.9 seconds worth now. He has served a tenth of that penalty, defends the inside line well. Bit of grass being kicked up on the inside corner, and that was a clonk on the barrier, and that was Breadbank going wide at the final corner, and he's onto the grass, and he is going to rejoin just safely into fourth position. So Campbell right on the back, and Breadbank actually trying to go up the inside of Aura Crafty, not quite, losing the back end, and he has got damage, so I think he should just go a little bit slower. As we are at the end of lap 1, Game Boys lead the way from Dakar in second, Aura Crafty third, Breadbank fourth, Campbell in fifth. Dan and Viva Virtual, the two major title contenders, now go side by side down the straight, and Viva Virtual has got the inside line running up the mountain straight and into Griffin's Bend, and he's up into P6. So a nice move there by the Mercedes on the McLaren. Viva Virtual passing Dan there. So Ibel, 1.2 seconds worth of penalties. There are several points of the track where drivers can pick up slowdowns. Aura Crafty and Ibel have already demonstrated that's a good effect so far out on track. But there's still 56 minutes and 50 seconds remaining respectively out on track. They come up the hill then through Sulman Park and into Macalemi Park. Breadbank right on the back of Campbell, or Crafty just in front of this as well. Don't be surprised, by the way, if the ghosting system is on, and if you see drivers ghosting inside of each other. Down the hill they come. Campbell sets the personal best there. Of course, 1 lap 2. Breadbank loses control through the S's. That's at 11 and 12. And Breadbank has gone into the wall. Viva Petrol now all over the back of him. So the Brit right on the back of his fellow countrymen as well. Thank you to everyone that's tuning in. Game Boys, in the meantime, has got a 7-second advantage. Right on board to see how dark it is really out on track and get a sense of how difficult it is as a commentator and as sure as a driver to see where the apexes are. Going into the chase now at 21 and 22. On the exit of 22 now, and then into Murray's corner at the final corner. 7.1 seconds between Game Boys and Dakar. They pulled away. Campbell in third, going up the inside of Aura Crafty, has got that move done. That's now QVR 1-2-3. Campbell down the inside of Aura Crafty, gets the move done. He's up to P3. V5 Royal, Dan, I think that was Breadbank possibly going off in the background. Yes, it was. Breadbank struggling, so he's gone from, so we see a lot of pit stops happening already. Got 2 into the pits. Dan is into the pits from a set of mediums, and Breadbank is into the pits on a set of hards. So it'll be very interesting to see. I don't think this will be a fuel pit stop. This is more for the tyres, which are wearing very quickly. I've got to say, Dan has picked up damage again. Head on track. No fuel gain there, and he's back out on a set of medium compound of tyres. Now, I'm not sure if there are rules circulating around the pit lane exit, but I think the pit lane exit is probably fine here at this track. Game Boys does lead the way. 8.1 seconds the gap as he runs up the hill. Look at how worn those softs are getting already. Bottom left of your screen, you can really see how worn those softs are going. And I would say, honestly, that the fuel is probably going at around 12.5%, I would think, per lap. I'm just going to hazard that as a guess, because we're already about 30 litres lighter on the fuel than when we started the race. Game Boys are really attacking the downhill section through the S's and into the dip they go through 15 and 16, and Game Boys has really attacked that section, has got a 10-second lead now over Dakar. He's on a set of medium compound of tyres. Campbell in third, Aura Crafty and V5 Etrollo not side by side running down the hill, nearly side by side running down the hill. V5 Etrollo just tries to get Aura Crafty down the hill. Not quite happening there. Aura Crafty, 2.4 seconds worth of slowdown. Don't be worried if you are tuning in to GT Sport for the first time. Those slowdown penalties can be served out on track, and they can be served before the end of the 60 minutes are up. And it's best, I think, to serve it through the corners. Just try and go for lift and coast strategy, and then try and ensure that some of your penalty is served up, whether that be a tenth, 2 tenths, or even a second. V5 Etrol right on the back of Aura Crafty, who tries to move him onto the grass. Oh, that's a bit of a telling off there, possibly. V5 Etrol trying to go around the outside now of Aura Crafty. Bit questionable driving, if I've got to be honest. Aura Crafty holds it around the outside. V5 Etrol goes quite deep there. Aura Crafty just forcing onto the grass. You might have not seen that on the camera angle. I certainly did. Aura Crafty was just coming across. Oh, and he's caught on the grass. And that is V5 Etrol now into 4th position. So the mistake has been made. Aura Crafty, bit of a commentator's curse moment, I guess. He's into 5th, and a little bit of a waggle there down the straight there from V5 Etrol. Probably not happy running down the hill into the chase at 21 and 22. How are the guys in behind getting on? Dan is into the pits again. Seems to be really struggling here tonight, the Dutchman. For the ILRT team, this is not going his way at all. But remember, Dan and V5 Etrol respectively are literally in the art of ensuring that they are tactical masterpieces. They are tactical masterclasses out on track. Hard compound of tyres for Dan, wants to go a bit further into the race. As I say, I'll try and focus on much action as possible out on track. Aura Crafty and Sir Ibble now 7 tenths away. Close battle really out on track as they run up the hill. Sir Ibble, remember, did pick up a 1.2 second slowdown. Aura Crafty with a 3 second slowdown. He's all out of shape and he's gone off through Sulman Park there, through Frog Hollow and into Sulman Park at 9 and 10. Coming into McPhilmy Park now at turn 10. Now running down the hill into the Skyline and the S's 11 and 12. But Sir Ibble now through on Aura Crafty. Bit of a wild mistake happening there. He has got damage to both the front and the rear. It's going to be so hard for him to turn in. He has got just over 50% of his fuel left. Once that damage goes, the tyres are obviously going at a quite sustainable rate here tonight. I think it might be on 8 times tyre wear, I'm going to hazard a guess at. But Aura Crafty coming down the hill That damage should go any second now, I would imagine, running down the straight. And we should see it go eventually. Eventually it'll go. Game Boys is into the pits from the lead of the race, probably for a tyre stop more than anything else. Still got the damage over Crafty running down the hill. We're right on board with him. He is trying to close back in on Sable. 2.8 seconds the gap, but you can really sense how the damage is really costing the drivers. It does take about a minute from actually receiving the damage to the damage actually going away from the drivers out on track. I've calculated it up myself when I've been out on track and getting damage myself. Damage still prevalent on all Crafty's car, but Dakar now leads the way. Game Boys, we've totally missed his pit stop. He's out on a set of medium compound of tyres. He was that far in front, he's joined in third. The KVR guys really dominating here. Dakar leads the way, 3.5 seconds. Campbell in second, Game Boys in third, V5 HRL in fourth, Sabo in fifth, over Crafty is in sixth, still got that damage. Breadbank in 7th and Dan in 8th, now beginning to try and hunt down Breadbank, 17.9 seconds separating, and the McLaren driver will want to be ensuring that he is at the top of his game going into the latter part of the race. We're nearly 10 minutes through here. Dakar leads the way, but Campbell now closing up. He has got right side damage there actually on that BMW, which essentially means that the turn-in, the BMW does tend to turn in like a double-decker bus around this track, I've got to be honest. But Campbell, I think, with that right side damage, it's going to affect him, especially down the hill section. I was there. Hopefully we're still going and we're still live out on track. Dakar leads the way, 2.4 seconds. I do apologise for that bit of a mix-up there, if I've got to be honest. Game Boys in third, FIFA Virtual in fourth, Ivo in fifth. Crafty in 6th, Breadbank 7th, and Dan in 8th position. I think that was just a bit of a moment there on my end, if I've got to be honest. Let's tune into the comments, see how you guys are doing. Dakar still goes out onto the next lap, which will be lap 6, coming across the line. And he's going great guns out in front. The Brit leads the way from his fellow countryman Campbell in 2nd, and Game Boys is in 3rd. Hopefully everyone enjoying themselves. I think McLaren fan 10 is Breadbank, but don't quote me on that. He could be. He could be. He might have changed his name and we haven't picked up. I wasn't here last week, so don't judge me indeed. And Mark, in fact, coming in and saying that is McLaren fan. So the Breadbank is now was McLaren fan 10, now the Breadbank. Just to confirm that on stream. Thank you very much to Sea Salt and to Old School as well, Mark, there in the comment section about that one. Goodness me, if I was... Oh, Dakar has just made a mistake. Just made a mistake there. You guys were probably better on that than me. I was just checking through a notification that I got actually, but Dakar leads the way, 7/10 per second. Campbell in second, 1.6, separating the top 3 out on track. We'll go on board with Game Boys. We are now at the highest point of the track, so all is downhill from here at the skyline. The moon now coming out. Seems to be getting a bit darker as well out on track. 205.3, the current fastest lap from Game Boys, who really does seem to be excelling here at Mount Panorama in Bathurst in New South Wales. And of course, very much our thoughts here at League of Europe are with those people who are fighting the wildfires currently in those regions. I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, of course, going to be on at the weekend here, certainly in the UK. So just to really hurl home at last, there are people struggling out there in Australia, especially in New South Wales and in Queensland, as I mentioned at the top of the stream. Game Boys closing in on Campbell closing in on Dakar. You can really see the headlights now of the 3 QPR cars, as that is Campbell going down the inside of Dakar. Dakar might be coming into the pits here. Game Boys hanging around the outside. Great stuff from Game Boys. Gets the move done on Dakar, and Dakar is indeed looking towards the pit lane. Yes, he is. But Dakar is into the pits, and Game Boys and Campbell now fight out for the lead. And I think that was a bit of a let through there. I think the QBR boys now probably working to each other. That is going to affect them more than anything else, because V5 HRL now in the Mercedes, the current championship leader, all the way. 3.3 seconds to gap. Dakar will probably come out in 4th, as Sabo has had a massive moment coming from the chase through turn 22 there. Dakar should be coming out of the pits now. Indeed he is. Nervous to set up a racing hard compound of tyres, and Dakar is out of the pits nicely and well ahead of Sabo, so he's in clear air. Crafty in 6th. Breadbank coming into the pit, formerly known as McLaren. Don't want to be missing the pit lane like that. Finally, he's managed to come into the pits, and Dan going around in 7th now as a result of Breadbank coming into the pits. try and focus this attention on quite a few of the guys out on track. We'll try and go through everyone individually during this race. We're about 45 minutes towards the end of the race, 15 minutes through. Game Boys does lead the way by 4.3 seconds now, the gap from V5HRL in second, Campbell in third, Dakar fourth, Sable fifth, Overcrafty sixth, Dan in seventh, Breadbank in eighth. And if you're wondering why I'm talking a little bit quieter, I certainly feel I'm talking a bit quieter anyways. I am just trying to ensure that my voice stays intact, because it has been quite awful today, if I've got to be honest, and I haven't got a drink with me either, so I've got to try and plough on through this with 45 minutes to go. And if the gaps do appear to ensure that the gaps are quite evenly spread, I will go down and get a drink to relieve myself of my dry mouth and my sore throat while I am getting that on track. But Dakar closing in on Campbell now. Of course, he's been into the pits, and he is closing down on his fellow QVR member. Oh, and that's a pure left through out on track. I'm not on about letting them through out on track, but come on, I think there should be a bit of fight in the guys. They should be for themselves rather than anyone else. And you probably heard me complain a few times to the Spaniards in League of Europe Division 1 as well on commentary, especially in the last couple of weeks. That's a bit of fun if you want to tune in for that. Campbell into the pit, V5 Retro into the pit. I am going to go downstairs, as I said, for a drink. I am feeling a little unwell, but I'll try and plough on through. I'll be back in about a minute or so. Welcome back. I am back from getting my drink downstairs. Nothing much has happened out on track. Nobody, don't think, has been into the pits. Plenty of drivers picking up damage out on track actually, but because the battle out on track is Dakar and V5 rolls 2.6 seconds roughly coming up the mountain straight. In fact, it's 2.7 seconds, 2.8 seconds, so it's just going out a little bit. I've got a throat menthol in my mouth as well. I'm really struggling here tonight, so hopefully you do appreciate that I might have to take a couple of breaks out on stream tonight. Didn't feel unwell coming into the stream. I don't know what's coming over me. Overcrafty is into the pits. Perfect pit lane there for Overcrafty. He's into the pits. He'll go for a full set of fuel and will hopefully go towards the 20-minute mark, I would imagine, with a set of fuel. And of course, one tip that I've found certainly is, in fact, we've got Sebo and Campbell now battling out of the hill. Campbell's got the move done on Sebo. Around the outside he goes. Campbell's up to P4, but he's on the outside line, ensuring He tries to get the best run off possible, and Campbell is through on Ibble, and he's up to P4 out on track. But if you are tuning into GT Sport for the first time, and if you haven't realised that we do stream live on Wednesdays whenever I'm free, or whenever anybody else, any other commentator is free for GT Sport, we'll of course be streaming this. I won't be here next week. I'm down somewhere. I'm somewhere next week, so I won't be here unfortunately for 6 o'clock, so you will probably get another commentator, or you probably won't get a stream at all. But then I'll be back for the final 2 rounds of the season. Hopefully there's still a championship battle going on, and we'll try and catch up with the action as Breadbank goes for a full 720 at the top of the hill into Skyline. Good recovery. He's got damage, I'm afraid. That was the best moment probably of the race so far. Breadbank 720 up at the Skyline. Oh, goodness me. Game Boys does lead the way though, and he's coming up the hill, the mountain straight. He's fastest in the first sector. 205.3 is his fastest lap, and this is the fastest lap of the race so far. V5 Veteran in second. He's getting the second on Dakar in third. Campbell in fourth with Sabo in fifth, but Dan now hunting him down in sixth position. Dan getting close. Of course, he has already been into the pits earlier on, and Sabo is going to come into the pit lane, so Dan is up into that P5 for the LRT team. Of course, second place currently in the driver's standings coming into tonight's racing. I'll just remind you of the points coming into tonight actually. Viva Retro on 118, Dan on 103, so 15 points separating these guys out on track. And if the race was to stay as it was now, if there was anything to happen in terms of disconnection or anything like that, then V5HRL will be gaining 8 points on Dan, which will increase his lead to 23 points in the standings. So just to give a little bit of thingy on that, Game Boys leads the way though. V5HRL in second, Dakar in third, with Campbell in fourth, Dan in fifth, Ivo in sixth, or Crafty in seventh, and Breadbank in 8th position. Hopefully you guys enjoying the stream so far out on track. You will appreciate that you do this as best as possible for you guys, and hopefully we will be seeing out on track some great action further going. Yeah, McLaren Fan 10 with an incredible spin. A full 720 at the top of the hill through Skyline. There is a yellow flag, and that is Game Boys. Game Boys is off. Nobody's around him. Game Boys is off. Has he run out? No, he hasn't run out of fuel. I think he's got caught in the grass coming into the pit lane. That's exactly what has happened there, I think. Game Boys into the pits. He has got no damage. It's just the tyres. The tyres have completely gone. He's probably gone onto the grass coming into the pit lane, got caught into the gravel, tried to reverse out, and it's cost him. He might have cost him the win, to be honest. Now that. He's out of the pits and he's out in third position. There is Campbell just coming across the start-finish line, so that's going to be about 6-7 seconds running up the hill. Maybe even more, about 8 seconds I make that out as. Coming through turn 1 in the background. But Viva Veteran does lead the way out on track from Dakar in second, Game Boys third, Campbell fourth, Dan fifth, Ibble sixth, Aura Crafty seventh, and Breadbank McLaren Fan 10 in 8th position. And we've got a battle out on track between Sable and Aura Crafty. So the two cars about to do battle out on track. The Aston against the Lexus. The Lexus on the outside line, the Aston on the inside line. Job done for Aura Crafty down the inside. Good respect shown there by Sable. Will try and maximise his run off the corner. Through Murray's corner, in fact. He hasn't got the move done, and Aura Crafty is through on the inside at the final corner. Gets the move done. He's up to P6. Now that gap will just start to increase slightly. He does run within the slipstream here, Sable. He's still in P7 finding a way. No disconnects, nothing happening out on track really apart from this battle between Aura Crafty and Sable. Plenty of the polystyrene boards are being taken out on the left hand side of the track. Obviously people misjudging their braking points up the hill. I tend to find if we can ride on board actually with Breadbank, when he comes up the hill, this little marker, that little side offing on the left-hand side there, where the marshals stand, that's where I brake out on track. And that's how I find I'm sure to get the car stopped, make the apex in a nice, fair manner, and ensure you get the best run out. So that's just a little bit of a guide from me in probably how to drive this track. I have won here a few times before, I'm not going to lie about that at all. Or Crafty gets all out of shape running down through the S's at the now down the hill towards the lowest point on the track. It's Ebo on the back of all Crafty. As you can tell, I am struggling here tonight. It's not going to be one of my best commentaries at all. Still trooping on, but 4/10 of a second between Aura Crafty and Sabo. He hasn't really got away from him, has he? Yes, the Martin driver. The Lexus now closing back in. We're on board with the Lexus. We'll go for a cockpit's view from Sabo. Don't think he's going to try and move here. There's the bonnet cam running through Aura Crafty. Make sure he takes that flat out, but will he get the car stopped? Just about. I do apologise about that. Aura Crafty in P6. Is he going to come into the pits? No. Sable's not going to come into the pits either. Of course, these guys have actually just come out of the pits, it seems. Sable especially, and he's got probably a lap over on Aura Crafty. Dan is into the pits, however. There is the beautiful looking McLaren livery into the pits. And Dan is out in P5, so he rejoins just out on track, just in front of the guys behind. Aura Crafty and Sable, that is, of course. V5 Petrol still leads the way down the hill. Dakar in second, Gameboys in third, Campbell fourth, Dan in fifth, Aura Crafty sixth, Ibo in seventh, the Breadbank in eighth position. Of course, Breadbank now formerly known as McLaren Fan 10. So just to clarify on that, and McLaren Fan 10, of course, Breadbank now known as. He hasn't scored any points. He disconnected last week, running around in last position. Points do count for every single position here in GT Sport for the top 10. So why don't you keep on going out on track? That's the best thing to do, I think. Keep calm and carry on is pretty much my motto for everything these days, to be honest. Civil right on the back of Aura Crafty. Larkin tuning in. Good to see Larkin in. One of the many drivers that I've commentated on in League of Europe Division 1 this season. Hopefully you're doing well tonight. It's so dark they want to see the kangaroo jump out in front of them. Yeah, we are in New South Wales. Kangaroos are quite prevalent in New South Wales, especially in this region of Australia. So yeah, it could be thingy. You just see a little Joey now going across your screen. Seasalt as well. Surprised McLaren Fan 10 doesn't have a Warburton's bread livery with that PSN name. No, he might be multi-grain by the end of this race. You never know. That is a terrible bread pun. I've been making too many of those recently, these puns. Anyways, Aura Crafty right on the back of Sir Ibo. Running down the hill. We are nearly halfway through. Off all of my waffling on, we're nearly halfway through. V5 Vitrol still leads. Dakar second, Gameboys third, Campbell in fourth is into the pit. Should rejoin in fourth position. Sable taking the defensive line on the inside into the chase. It turns 21 and 22. This is through 22. And Aura Crafty right on the back of him. The Aston Martin trying to get past on the Lexus. He's going to try and dive it down the inside, I think, here. Aura Crafty late on the brakes. Can he get the move done? The wide out line taken by Sibble, and that's where you want to be. Taking not a defensive line there at all, Sable didn't take, but Aura Crafty now trying to lunge it down the inside into turn one, trying to put him off with the lights. Goodness me, but Sable, again, great respect being shown by these two, and it is closer now running up the hill into turn two at Murray's Corner. Aura Crafty right on the back. Who has got the legs? Down the hill, up this little kink. I think the Lexus is just about a mile an hour, 2 mile an hour quicker in terms of the gearing, as Aura Crafty tries to lunge around the outside of Murray's Corner. Oh, what a move! What a move! Sebo didn't see that one coming. Round the outside goes Aura Crafty at Murray's Corner at turn two. Very difficult, I've got to say, to pull off a move there. That's fantastic stuff from Aura Crafty round the outside. Makes it look so easy. No contact made. Clean as you like. That's how you want to be driving around Bathurst when you're in a one-on-one situation with another driver. Fantastic stuff, and he's up to P6. Really good stuff. Vivo Etrola is into the pits from third position, so he's rejoining from the lead of the race, I should say. He's joining in third place, 10.2 seconds behind Dakar and Gameboys. We'll be pitting Dakar. Ooh. looking a bit low on the fuel. That's about 11 litres left on the fuel, and knowing how fast the fuel runs, as I said earlier on, 12.5% I make it as in terms of the fuel wearing here per lap. It is going to be interesting to see if Dakar can actually get this round this lap. I think he will be able to. He's nearly halfway through the lap, so he should be able to. Game Boy's just riding across the curbside. He's made a mistake actually, Game Boy's there. Just got caught on the kink there, coming through. Viva Ritual now only 9 seconds away pretty much. Campbell in 4th, Dan in 5th, Aura Crafty in 6th. Has pulled away now from Sable, running down the straight. And again, Sable, I think just taking his time really out on track, just ensuring he gets those tyres as far as possible into the race as possible. Aura Crafty was looking like he was going to aim towards the pit lane, but he's not. Down into the final corner. At Griffin's Corner, I do believe this is. Griffin's... Oh no, not Griffin's Bend. Murray's Corner, sorry. Griffin's Bend is the one at turn 2. That's the one I've been getting wrong and calling Murray's Corner sometimes. You can probably appreciate why. Sabo leads the way on Breadbank. It's about 10 seconds separating those two, but now 0.3 of a second running up the hill once again. It's Sabo going to try and lunge it down the inside. Is he going to try and pull off a move similar to what we saw with Aura Crafty? Got the inside line, a bit of a half commitment up the inside, but Aura Crafty holds firm, and Sable not really getting used and grips to that car through Griffin's Bend at turn 2, and Sable hanging on to that 7th position. No, not finding a way past Aura Crafty in the meantime. Campbell has made a mistake at the top of the hill, however. So Campbell's made a mistake. This is Dan coming through, and that is for position. So Campbell has got engine damage, which is going to be so costly for Campbell. Only recently came out the pits as well. Campbell will struggle to get that round on this lap. That engine damage is going to be so costly for these guys out on track. And you can really sense that the gearing already is messed up as a result of the engine being damaged. And you can't really get the full power off the corner. Hopefully that damage will recede towards the end of the race. Hopefully. We are more than halfway through though. If you're just tuning in, you've missed a lot. Game Boys leads the way. With more than half an hour gone, Game Boys leads the way. Viva Virtual in 2nd. Dakar in 3rd. He's picked up a 5-second slowdown. I don't know why he's picked up that. Maybe a cut into the pit lane possibly is my thinking on that, I've got to be honest. He's in 3rd though, 4.9 seconds. Gonna lift and course to run up the straight. Yeah, he's gonna lift and course through some of these corners just to ensure that slowdown does get served up. And Dakar doing a great job, I've got to say, out in 3rd. Dan in 4th had very early contact with the wall mainly, and that's why you're seeing him. Campbell is into the pits to repair his car. Still got that engine damage. Dan is in 4th. The story of his race, really, he's been hitting the walls a little bit too much out on track, and it's cost him. It has really cost him out on track. Don't think you're going to be seeing him winning this race. Probably another 2 pit stops to make for him as well, so that's going to be quite costly. Campbell, Aura Crafty and Sable getting back going again for 5th. Campbell just out of the pits, just in front of these guys. Aura Crafty and Sable now running up the hill. The Lexus is quicker in a straight line compared to the Aston. We should see this prevalent now, running up the hill. Sable trying to go up the inside again. A bit of a half commitment down the inside. Doesn't want to get caught in that apex. He's just fighting the back end a little bit too much. If he brakes well, I said earlier on when we were right on board with Breadbank, at that little intersection where the cars would go off if they break down or if they've crashed or anything like that, running up the hill, brake at that point, because it is going to ensure that you get the best possible run out onto Griffin's Bend through turn 2 and then throughout the S section. Or Crafty just going a little bit too slow. I'm not sure what on earth happened there. He has got rear damage as well as front damage. I think Aura Crafty actually hit the wall. Sable was quicker than him in behind, and then contact's just been made. Unfortunate bit of contact there between them both. Breadbank chasing them down as well as a result of that. Game Boys still leads the way though. We're right on board with Game Boys at the minute. 3.4 seconds the gap out on track between the top 2. And Game Boys has really taken this race by the scruff of the neck, I've got to say. He's been out in front for quite a while. I think he's been out in front pretty much since the at least since the end of lap 1, maybe even since the start of lap 1 possibly. But Game Boy's doing a great job out in front. V5 Atrial is in second, but look at that, the brake discs going absolutely fantastic. Really sense how heavy these guys are braking out on track. But V5 Atrial, ever the mastermind of this strategy, he is going to be trying to win another race here tonight at Mount Panorama, and I think he's probably got this strategy completely right, I've got to say, as they run now down the hill, down the long straight, down the longest straight in Australia on any track, the Conrad Straight, and then down into the Chase. Of course, it's not where, sadly, the Chase is not where people win money. You don't win money here in League of Europe, sadly. You just win pride and 25 points for the win, and that's pretty much it. So, unfortunately, I won't be giving any prize money out to the guys out on track here tonight. But I do promise you, there is a corner called the Chase on this track, which is unbelievable. Crafty and Seville still quite close. Breadbank now catching as a result of the damage. Both of them have still got the damage. It must take ages for the damage to wear away. It must be on heavy damage. We, in our league that I normally compete in, then obviously that is going to happen. I think we've got mechanical damage on light, I'm pretty sure, and that's probably why you're seeing quite a few of the drivers hitting the walls and not serving up their damage. Or Crafty, it's got rear and front damage and a low fuel mixture as well. Gonna have to be serving up some of that towards the end of this lap. Game Boys V5 Atrial still leading the way. That's looking quite close actually between those two. 2.8 seconds to come up the hill. Catching all the time, V5 Atrial on Game Boys. And with 24 minutes to go, it's still really anyone's game and anyone's race. If Game Boys can hold V5 Atrial off into his pit stop, so he just runs wide slightly there. 2.8 seconds the gap, doing a great job, the Dutchman, compared to the Brit. And he's, as I say, he's been out in front since pretty much the get-go on lap 1. And he's really ensuring that the best possible fine can be given, and V5 Atrial struggles down the S section. 4 seconds the gap. That gap has just extended quite considerably there. It's a point in the track where you do want to be saving up your tyres, I've got to say. Breadbank, by the way, has gone past on Aura Crafty and Sir Ibo, both with the damage, and Breadbank has gone past them. Missed that. So Breadbank is through on Sir Ibo, and he's up to P6. So he's got 2 positions getting there actually for Breadbank. You might be going to the Breadbank after this race, you never know. Game Boys down into the pit lane, looking good into the pits. That's how you want to be taking the pit lane, into the pits he goes. Game Boys. V5 Atrial will inherit the lead of the rest then. Dakar coming through the Chase. He's got 4.7 seconds of that slowdown to serve up. And I've got to say, you've got to do appreciate that the drivers do have to serve their slowdowns, otherwise you will get a second extra. But there's not many points at this track where you can really ensure that the time off the slowdown can be given. I think it's really worth doing it on the straights here at Mount Panorama at Bathurst. Game Boys, by the way, just came out in second place, just ahead of Dakar. They're doing a great job out there so far, out on track, and I've got to say, V5 Atrial, he will have to make at least one more pit stop, I think. He's doing a great job out on track. With 22 minutes to go, V5 Atrial leads the way. 14 seconds the gap. I think that gap will come down though. Game Boy's now on fresher tyres, and with relatively high fuel load actually. He's in second, Dakar in third. Dan is into the pits in fourth. Campbell 5th, Breadbank 6th, Sabo in 7th, and Aura Crafty in that 8th position, currently out on track. I've got to say, he's doing a good job out on track, and everyone really is doing a great job out on track. And they're still going, all 8 competing drivers are still going out on track, so the points pretty much going to be happening here, which is fantastic stuff indeed. Of course, League of Europe will be back on Saturday. I'll have to get that in now because I am going to be back on Saturday, and I think that might be my next commentary where I'm at as well. So, League of Europe Division 1, do tune in for 6:45. It's going to be a hell of a lot of fun. It's going to be fantastic racing from the guys. Montana obviously has wrapped up the championship, but it doesn't mean to say we can still have a great race out on track. And knowing League of Europe Division 1, the races have slowly been improving through the season, and we're going to reach a big crescendo moment, I think, for Division 1. Of course, Division 2 and Division 3 are also live. Division 3 at 6:20, just before me. And 7:30, I think, is League of Europe Division 2, or 7:20, something like that. I can remember off the top of my head. No pun intended. V5 HRL still leads the way, though, in the meantime, for the race at Mount Panorama. 20 minutes to go. So already 40 minutes away through this race. I do apologise, obviously, with how the stream went down slightly. I had a bit of a lag moment in the race. V5 HRL still leads the way. Game Boy second, Daka third, Campbell fourth, Dan in fifth, Breadbank, Ibbo and Aura Crafty doing a good job out on track. And everyone's still going, more importantly. Nobody is really close enough to warrant any attention, really. So we'll go on board with Game Boys, who is personal best. He set a personal best. Oh, he's just 2.5 cents down. He's got a car in front of him. He really, I think, should have been letting him out of the way through that. Looks like it's Aura Crafty that is just ahead of him. Please mistake me if I'm wrong. That is Aura Crafty just ahead of him. So Aura Crafty needs to be getting out of the way here of Game Boys. And I'm sure the proverbial lights flashing will now happen down the Conrod Straight. Of course, Mount Panorama famously, I think, more famous for the B8 supercars, and he does let them through. So Aura Crafty is there. Game Boys through. Good stuff indeed. Breadbank is into the pits. Game Boys now focuses his attentions on trying to catch V5 HRL out in front, and he's into the pits. So V5 HRL into the pits. Has he mastered his strategy nicely here? 9 laps, really, I think, to go. Possibly, if you count at 2 minutes a lap, it's just going to be over 2 minutes 6, 2 minutes 7 a lap. So just watch out for this, because this could be quite interesting, I've got to say. Still not over and done with yet, to be honest. Abel's now inherits the lead of the race. Dakar in second. Look at how close it is between them two. Coming out of the pits, V5 HRL and Game Boys. Second, separating the guys out on track. The helicopter gets very low there in the distance. Game Boys does ease the way. V5 HRL is in second. Crafty and Ibbo. So Crafty in 7th place, as I've said as well. Looking at how this race is going to pan out, I think it's going to be V5 HRL taking this race win. I've got to say, he's a second behind Game Boys. He's doing a great job out on track. I'm just going to take a break from commentary though in the meantime. I'll run on board with V5 HRL and hopefully you'll see a move done. But I'll be back in a minute. So Breadbank and Game Boys have just had contact there running down the hill. Breadbank has got engine damage and rear end damage as well. Game Boys getting V5 HRL has got engine damage as well. That is costly, but running down the hill there's not really an opportunity to overtake. So that is very strange that's happened there on track. That might of course V5 HRL the win. You can really see the speed difference. There's about 50 mile an hour speed difference running down the straight between them two. Game Boys is in a big... Oh, and he's off! Game Boys completely locking up there on the medium compound tyres. The front's just overheating slightly. And now Game Boys leads the race, but does he take the opportunity to go into the pits? No, he doesn't. V5 HRL right on the back, 10.5 seconds separating, but look at the difference now. Game Boys is going to be pulling out on V5 HRL, who will still have that engine damage. Daka now into second as a result. He threw the final corner. Game Boys in the lead of the race. Drama in League of Europe. So with V5HRL's damage, Game Boys goes personal best in the first sector, and V5HRL has got it all to do now. 19 seconds between himself and Game Boys. Game Boys will have to come into the pits. V5HRL might be a bit of a godsend. It might be too close to call. It's going to be too close to call, I've got to say, coming out of the pits. But running up the hill now, into Griffin's Bend once again. V5HRL is now on the back of Dakar, 2.2 seconds separating. There are blue flags ahead. I think that is all Crafty that is just ahead once again. He's got to get out of the way in a safe and fair manner here. We'll go back on board with Dakar. He takes a bit of an opportunity to serve up his slow down as well, but look at how much it's costing him. V5HRL on the back, a second separating. 13 minutes to go. Game Boys in the prime spot to take this, but Dakar, essentially, look at V5HRL. He wants to get past. There's traffic ahead. Dakar is just in front of this as well. So the guy in front of him is for position. The guy 2 cars in front of him is a lapped car and he needs to be overtaken. I think he's going to wait. They're going to wait until the straight ready to overtake. Is V5HRL going to try and lunge it on Dakar? Running through the S's down into the dipper. Not quite. Crafty will now get out of the way. V5HRL on the inside. Dakar on the outside line now. Going to be so close. Dakar just goes on leans onto the grass slightly. Gives V5HRL the best running and he's going to get past him. So V5HRL takes full advantage of a Dakar. Slight run onto the grass, but he is still coming back. The BMW against the Mercedes running down the hill into the chase. Dakar right on the back. Not close enough though to try and repay the move. He'll be coming into the pits this lap as well. V5HRL then waiting forward. Crafty, he needs to get out of the way. The Aston Martin driver does need to get out of the way here. V5HRL is going to lunge it down the inside. Yeah, and in Chewy's there, he's got to realise that the driver in Crafty should have got out of the way there, really. Game Boys is out of the pits and he's going to be out in front. So Game Boys now leads the way. Makes it even more interesting, this race. 2.6 seconds running up the hill, up the mountain straight. Game Boys now lead. V5HRL in second. Dakar will be out in an easy third position. Campbell, the rest of the field are spread out like a washing line at the minute. Sabo was off at turn 1. Breadbank is just about to go past him, I do believe. Sorry, Sable's off at the final corner, I do apologise. But Game Boys leads the way, 2 seconds out in front. I'm just going to add somebody to a chat for another league that I am admin for, so I do apologise in advance if I don't really talk that much. Let me... hang on a minute. Let me just do this. We're back, Game Boys, 1.9 seconds out in front, Viva Virtual in second, Dakar in third, but the main two now about to do it on track. 1.6 seconds running down the hill, with 10 minutes between Game Boys and a possible victory, or Viva Virtual and a possible victory. It seems it's between these two to the end of the race. 10 minutes to go as we come into the chase once again, and the chase is on for Viva Virtual, trying to chase down Game Boys. 1.2 seconds out on track. 1.3. Game Boys just gets a better, cleaner exit there out of the chase. And Game Boys now down into Murray's corner at the final corner at turn 23. Game Boys still, though, leading the way by 1.3 seconds coming across the line. Viva Virtual is in second. There are blue flags ahead. Blue flags ahead. And it is somebody ahead. Somebody's ahead of them. No, nobody's ahead of them. What am I on about? Don't know why there was blue flags there, to be honest. But anyways, Game Boys, 9/10 leading. Viva Virtual beginning to attack him. Now up the hill. 9 minutes to go, pretty much now, between what could be a Game Boy success or a Viva Virtual success. Will Viva Virtual finish second for the second week in a row? Second, of course, at Auto Polis last week. Game Boys finishing fourth last week in Auto Polis. And Game Boys is somehow going to try and get Viva Virtual to make a mistake somehow. The leader's out in front. Game Boys leads from Viva Virtual in second. And in terms of the championship, this is really going to be wide open at this moment in time. If the race was to stop now, Viva Virtual would be on 136 points. And Dan would be on 113 points. So, do the maths, 23 points I make that out as. Out on track. It's going to be quite interesting. 1.5 seconds separating Game Boys. The gap is extended. Viva Virtual on the back foot all of a sudden. The softs against the hards. The softs are going to be wearing too much, I think, for him to get to the end. I think Game Boys is just going to nick this, you know. The hards are going to wear much less at this stage in the race compared to Viva Virtual, who of course is on the soft compound tyres, and with 50 litres of fuel left, this is going to be touch and go from this point onwards. Game Boys has got more fuel, so he should be good enough to get to the end of the race here. But Game Boys leads the way, 0.8 of a second as we come now onto lap 25 with 7.5 minutes to go, and this is only getting started. So don't tune out. Game Boys leads the way, 0.7 of a second. Viva Virtual in second. Everyone else pretty much spread out like a washing line, as I said. Or crafting tip, or battling once again. All those position in second and eighth. But Game Boys leading up the hill, up the mountain straight. Viva Virtual 0.3 quicker in the first sector. Position change there. Or Crafty is through on Sir Ibo. So he's up to 7th position. So I begin to struggle once again on commentary. I do apologise, of course. But Game Boys leading the way once again, up the hill once again. 0.3 of a second now. This is getting down to the nitty gritty. Gets caught on the inside wall there slightly, Game Boys. Viva Virtual flashes a light to ensure that a mistake could be made. 6.5 minutes to go. They're up to the top of the hill through Macaulay Park. Now down the hill through the Dipper, on the skyline, through the Dipper, and now down into the S section. Running down the straight. 0.7 of a second running down the hill. Game Boys leads the way. 0.9 of a second. Game Boys seems to be attacking that a little bit too much for my liking, but it does gain him a little bit of time. And that's what what you want to see really at this point in the race. 7.5 tenths now between Game Boys and V5 Etrol. 6 minutes to go, and I have a feeling we've only got 3 laps left. I think we've only got 3 laps left. We'll have to see. We'll have to find out. You'll be hopefully tuning in as soon as that on that. But looking at this, V5 Etrol trying to go down the inside of Game Boys, not quite close enough there, and it's still looking ever so close out on track between these two. 5.5 minutes to go now. Game Boys 5 tenths clear. V5 Etrol, the championship leader, hunting down on what you could call the arch nemesis here tonight. He tries to close in 7.5 tenths, 8 tenths. Game Boy's just getting a bit of a quicker exit there out of turn 1, but the gap reduces by about a tenth, maybe nearly 2 tenths in fact. And again, V5 Etrol within the slipstream begin to close up, but he's not close enough. You've got to be within, I think, 2.5 tenths out of the first corner to get a run up the hill and try and get the overtake done. We'll go on board then with V5 Etrol. A little bit more pressure being applied to these drivers with us riding on board with them. Game Boys leads the way. Let's go on board though, from a driver's perspective with V5 Etrol. He is really attacking this. He is feathering the car through the corners, and with about 40 litres of fuel left, he should be managing, he will get home quite comfortably. In fact, Game Boys have got a little bit more fuel to burn, which could suit him towards the end of the race, but the right front and the rear left on the soft compound of tyres for V5 Etrol beginning to go. Ooh, just gets caught in the apex slightly. So Ebo into the pits for possibly his final, well, it will be his final pit stop. Through the S section they go. V5 Etrol just taking a little bit costly down there actually. Game Boys ensure as he gets the run down through the S section. 4 minutes to go as they come down at the top of the hill. Down the Conrad straight they come once again, with I think 2 more laps to go after this one. Game Boys leads the way. V5 Etrol is in second. Between these two for the win. Game Boys being fancied more here, I think. The Dutchman fending off the attention to the Brits of V5 Etrol. 3.5 minutes pretty much to go. Oh, V5 Etrol has gone completely deep there. That might be his chances over and done with. I think he might know that as well. V5 Etrol, is he going to come into the pit lane and secure that second place? He does. He knows it. He knew it going down into the chase. He locked up on the softs. The tyres were going. The tyres wouldn't have lasted till the end. Game Boys has now essentially been inherited the victory here tonight. After a mistake by V5 Etrol. Wasn't the case of the fuel, it was the case of the tyres. And the softs have come back to bite him, but he's still going out on track. He's rejoined, only 6 seconds off Game Boys. This might not be done with, but you never know. 2.5 minutes, just under 3 minutes to go. Game Boys leads the way. Through the first sector they come once again. V5 Etrol is in second, Dakar in third, Campbell in fourth, Dan in fifth. He's got a bit of a shocker, I've got to say. Brett Bank is in sixth, Ora Crafty is in seventh, and Sabo in 8th position, who did come into fifth. 5 seconds the gap, but fresher softs beginning to close in. And this is not over and done with by any stretch of the imagination. This will be like Montana in Division 1 trying to hunt down Sterling West. There was a little bit of grass being kicked up just in front as well, which assumes to me that Game Boys is struggling, and V5 Etrol has now trying to launch the gauntlet late on. 3.9 seconds. This is going to be minuscule stuff we're talking about here, guys. Game Boys leads the way down the hill. This is going to have to be more attacking from V5 Etrol if he wants this. 3.8 seconds, 3.7, now reduces the gap even further. We're going to have one more lap after this lap to go, and it sadly won't be the case of everyone making it onto the corner, and Game Boys has made a mistake. Game Boys has made a mistake at the top of the hill. Gives V5 Etrol another bite of the cherry. These guys surely don't want to win. Game Boys, V5 Etrol, 1.5 seconds with 1.5 minutes to go. This is going to be so close on the final lap of the race. Game Boys lead 1.2 seconds down into the braking zone. Make sure he gets the tyres in this time. I think he's got this, you know, V5 Etrol. It's literally like being on board with a masterpiece, out on track, FIFA Retro goes a little bit too deep into the corner. Now onto the final lap, and this is really good account. Game Boys is sensing the danger, takes the defensive line. The Dutchman ensuring he gets the best run out of the corner. Goes a little bit wide of the apex, gets caught in the apex slightly, but FIFA as they run up the hill, up the mountain straight for the final time. 800s in it, running up the hill. Have you ever seen it so close in GT Sport before? I certainly haven't in a while. Game Boys tries to lean across on V5 HRL. Doesn't get the move done. But now, through Griffin's Bend, now coming up to the top of the hill, once again, towards the highest point of the track, which will be at the skyline. Game Boys is somehow defensively driving this to perfection. V5 HRL, though, right on the back. You can really see how much he wants this, Game Boys. He is still out in front, 0.2 of a second, but up this section of the track, there is no real overtaking opportunities. It's going to favour Game Boys, and if Game Boys attacks it, and he's attacked it too much, and FIFA Metrol's into the back of him. Rejoins on track. That's the only way he could join. He's into the gravel. Oh, I can't believe it. Game Boys and FIFA Metrol waits up for him. But Game Boys into the gravel, clipped the wall on the inside, I think. Campbell across the line in fourth. We are at the end of the race for these guys. Game Boys has got damage, I think he has. Game Boys, so unfortunate, so unlucky. It's going to be a second place, I think, from out on track. Viva Vetrol leads the way down the hill. He's short shifting to ensure that Game Boys has got another bite of the cherry. I don't think he knows, though, that he's got damage. Viva Vetrol has actually got damage after clipping him. 1.3 seconds the gap. Viva Vetrol, I think, is going to take this out on track. So Ibos came across the line in 8th. Dan is about to come across the line in 5th as well. Bit of an unfortunate race for him there. Breadbank, he does another 720 there. Crafty's coming up the top of the hill as well. But, Viva Vetrol's off! Viva Vetrol's off! I can't believe this! I do not believe what I've just seen. I do apologise for missing that. Viva Vetrol has gone too deep. Once again into the chase. He knows it. Game Boys is going to take the win. Game Boys wins. Drama on the final lap of round 7. Game Boys takes it. Viva Vetrol in second. He is going to be ruining his luck here tonight. He got damage. He must have went too deep into the corner. He could only have done that unless he's let him through, which I highly doubt it. Daka across the line in 3rd in the meantime. Dan's already came across the line in 5th as well. Breadbank and Aura Crafty will be finishing as well, 6th and 7th. As long as they get across the line, they will be picking up the points. Breadbank in 6th and Aura Crafty going to be coming across the line in 7th position as well. That's unbelievable. Did Viva Vetrol make the mistake? A mad finish. And I'll tell you what, I'll save the replay of this. I will save the replay of this, and we'll go back on board and give you a replay of what actually happened between Viva Vetrol and Game Boys position, doing a good job right at the end of the race. Crafty finishes across the line in 7th. And that is it. That's the racing over and done with here for tonight. Game Boys has taken it from Viva Vetrol in 2nd, Daka 3rd, Campbell 4th, Dan 5th, Breadbank in 6th, Crafty 7th, and Ibo in 8th position. I didn't win. It was Game Boys who took it out on track. And I think that's his first win of the season. But Game Boys has picked up the victory here at Mountain Panorama. We're right on board, though, with how 2 second places for Game Boys, by the way, this season. I am going to save the replay of that. I'm going to exit the lobby, and I'm going to give a bit of a debrief on this and see what actually happened between Game Boys, because I missed this. I did miss this. If I can find my way through to view the replay, I will be able to get it for you guys out on track. The internet connection quality is currently not sufficient enough to broadcast the gameplay, and it seems like GT Sport is having a bit of a fit as well. It seems. It's absolutely fantastic, but we will view the replay. Hopefully it does load, and if it doesn't, then it's a real shame that we can't give you the footage of what happened between Viva Vetrol and Game Boys. I thought it almost looked like he went too deep into the corner. You might read that differently. Let's have a look then at what happened. If I can remember my library, let's have a look at the replay then. You will be able to see some other replays as well from leagues that I have been in. thingy. Here we go. Right, let's play this. Let's go right to the end of the race, and we'll pick up on board with V5 Etrol. I just want to be clarifying on this. I want to clarify myself on this more than anyone else, and I'm sure you guys as the viewers want to see clarity on what happened late on. I'm not going to commentate over it again. Don't worry. Another hour of this. Goodness me. But as of the on-track action we are over and done with, we're just going to have a look at the replay very late on to see what happened between V5 Etrol and thingy. We are going to have to... We can't skip on, of course, because it's the... Yeah, you're going to see all of this, guys. We'll get to the end then. If we can. We'll pick our driver. Right, there we go. So we can go to the end of the race. Right, this is going to have to take a lot of clicking through, I've got to be honest. This will take a lot of clicking through, so I do apologise if you are experiencing this. This is not glitching out or anything. I'm just clicking through to see what happened at the end of this race. It's not the most professional thing to do, I've got to be honest, but then again, I just want to be sure of what happened. We're on board with V5 Etrol, as I say. We will get going. We are about halfway through at this stage now, so I just want to make sure. You can probably hear me clicking X quite a lot of times, just to be sure on what happened. Of course, you guys didn't see this, I didn't see this as a result. So he came into the pits, he came into the pits again, then he's going clear, then he gets held up. Right, here we go. We're about to get up to the point now, I think. Chasing down Game Boys. Lap 26. This was when he went into the pits. Right. Should be getting this very shortly indeed. Right, let's have a ride on board, because this is the moment, I think. This is what happened to V5 Etrol late on in the race. Let's see what happened. Did he go too deep? Yes, he did. He went way too deep into the corner. My assumption was right, and that's why you saw him going off track and Game Boy's getting the win of the race. And Game Boy's coming across the line now to take the win. So just to update you guys on what happened. It was V5 Etrol locking up a bit too deep there into the final corner. So just to give you clarity on that. Thank you though for watching. I've been Gemtech14. You'll see me back Saturday for Division 1 League of Europe on F1 2019. But until then, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.